I loved about him as well, this man who could laugh and be humorous, could be so spiritual. And what he taught me in the ethics of it was that you can't always be perfect. Because I believed that I had to be this perfect person that never did anything wrong and was absolutely sweetness and light. And he said the physical, the mental and the emotional will enhance the spirit world and the spiritual work you do. But you have to have the human being, so you are going to do things wrong. You're never going to be perfect. And I used to get so upset if people didn't like me. I used to get really upset, and he'd say, it's impossible for everybody to be liked by one person. And there was quite something going wrong in the union. I can't remember because I wasn't interested in the NEC. But Gordon was really having a lot of stick. I think it was in the Psychic News or something. And I phoned him up and I said to him, are you not going to stand up and defend yourself? And he just said to me, darling, you can't defend yourself, because if you're defending yourself, you've done something wrong. I've done nothing wrong, so how can I defend it? Sure. I must just walk my path and let them get on with it. And I thought, wow, where I always want to go with my fisticuffs up and have a go, you know.
That's right. I do remember actually saying, and I found it difficult at first, he said that we should love everybody. You know, I said, well, that's impossible. He says, no, it's not. He said, it's impossible to like everybody. There's a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you do think, don't you? I mean, I remember having a lot of conversations with him about, you know, I've not been a particularly good person up until this day. I've, you know, made so many mistakes in my life, and, you know, how is it that the Spirit world are going to use me? And he said to me, but without those mistakes, how are you going to have the wisdom to help people that avoid the mistakes? So the moral and the ethic behind it was do the best you can, but don't crucify yourself.
That's right.
And that, I'm sure he did it with you, Paul on the road to Damascus.
I was just going to mention that, because I didn't think I could be a medium. One, because I didn't think I'd been a good enough person. Maybe some of the things from my past, the way I've been as a person and lived my life. And he said to me, read the story of St. Paul.
Absolutely.
And he actually bought me a mug with St. Paul and certain wording on the mug. Funny that, we were both just going to mention.
He gave me a good, I think it was a half-hour talk on Paul on the road to Damascus.
But even that perfection with, like, not just as people, but even our work, say, demonstration, we all want this perfect performance. And my first demonstration in Longton Church with him, when he said after we'll sit down and go through everything that's wrong, but at the end he added, because I hadn't done that well really, I don't think, and he said, you must remember though, the whole demonstration was worth it for that one contact, and if you've made the difference to touch one person, then it's all been worthwhile.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we forget that sometimes because we're only human, and we want it all to be good and everybody to think we've performed well in everything we've done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he was, but he was perfect, wasn't he?
Oh.
I mean, I can't ever remember ever going with him up to a demonstration or going to watch him at a demonstration where he wasn't accurate. Come on, tell me, I know I'm right.
I know.
It was wonderful. I can
remember him taking myself and Simon James down to the college. He says, come and have a couple of days holiday. And it was a Scottish week, and Betty, you know, from Scotland, and Sid Stevens, and Eileen Davis were there. And he was taking an evening session, and me and Simon were waiting outside because we didn't know what we were supposed to be doing or whatever. And he told us we were on the platform with him, and he had the blackboard there, and he said to all the course, he said, Paul and Simon are going to demonstrate for you now. I'm going to write the evidence on the blackboard to see how much evidence there is, if there is any. That was the sort of way he treated it. But actually, we rose to the moment, and we did well.
I mean, the exercise he had us doing, they'd die, some of these. You know, but when he used to plant somebody behind a screen and you'd have to read them, and you didn't know, you didn't get a word, you'd never let anybody speak. It was just amazing. And tell you another thing that he taught very well, and that was psychometry.
Yes, very much so.
I love the way he taught psychometry. And even that, you know, we're letting go. We don't teach it as we did.
That's right. I mean, I know when Gordon saw his private clients at home, he always began with psychometry. And I asked him, you know, why? I thought you just do it mediumistically. He says, you need to know and assess your sitter and know your client. And that's the way he feels the best way.
I remember being at one of the holiday camps, you know, when we used to take the holiday camps over. And I remember, and he came to me and he said, I want you to psychometrise. And it was a little button of someone's cardigan. It was so tiny. And I got hold of it and I started to work. And I just was so enjoying it. And I knew it was right. I knew what I was saying was right. So I was getting a little bit like that. And he said, open your hand. And I opened my hand, and he took it. And he said, and I'll take over from here. And I was so disappointed because it was the best I'd ever done. It was amazing.
Even when we used to go on holiday, he used to bring objects in little boxes for us to psychometrise, so we couldn't see the item. And afterwards, he wouldn't even let us know whether we were right or wrong. Yeah. But in a way, I look at it now, and I think really that was learning us
to have faith.
And that trust which you always said we had to have, you know.
Yeah.
But even on holiday, he'd have fun with it and play as well, you know. I mean, we always used to go to this little port for a coffee or a hot chocolate. And afterwards there'd be Mary Duffy and one or two of the other older mediums, and we'd sit there reading the chocolate cup stains and coffee cup stains in the cups.
You had to go to everything, didn't you?
Right.
The scrying, the sand reading, the teacup, because it was part of the psyche, you know. And he really thought that we didn't. Well, with me, I don't know about you. He said you had to honour the psyche. You to honour the soul. Where now you hear people saying, "Oh, I'm not a psychic." There's no honour. There's no honouring. You know, and he taught you to honour it.
That's right. But it's the same with the colour and the aura. I wasn't particularly interested in colour because I couldn't see the aura objectively, visually. And he was doing a session in the college, and it was an open week. And he asked the whole audience if anybody saw colour, and nobody put their hand up. So he looked down at me and he says, "And what about you, young man?" And I says, "No, I only feel it." He said, "Same thing, how'd you come?" And I know he studied colour and the aura. It was his pet subject.
Yeah, and if you notice with him, he didn't try to structure it, that his word was law. Because I love colour, and he taught me a lot about colour.
You used to come to Longton in the early years when he used to train you with the colour.
But, you know, I look at it sometimes and you get these sheets coming through where it says green means this and that means that. And what Gordon taught me to do was, what does your soul tell you about that colour? You know, does it tell you that, or does it tell you something different? But I made so many mistakes when I was being trained. And of course I used to go in my mini skirts and my white plastic boots, and I used to think I was the bee's knees. I really did, but it was good fun as well. Like you say, I never went on holiday with him because of course I had my child and my husband then.
But that was
it was very, very good.
So, but that with the colour, he did something similar. We were in a group at Stansted, and he gave me the colour violet. Didn't tell me what it was supposed to mean. He said, "I want you now," you know, like you just said. And I thought, God, what's he expecting from me? But I did it, and it made you search and discover your understanding and answers. And that's the way he taught. And I think that's missing in a lot of the way we teach today.